Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Harrow, I was just wondering, what does HMRC understand, or what does it mean to imply when it uses the word carelessness, that someone has been careless with their tax return, and what should the general public understand by the use of that term?
Again, I'm not commenting on any particular person's affairs, but carelessness is a concept in tax law. It can be relevant to how many back years that we can assess, and it can be relevant to whether someone is liable to a penalty, and if so, what penalty they would be liable to for an error in their tax affairs. There are no penalties for innocent errors in your tax affairs. So if you take reasonable care but nevertheless make a mistake, whilst you will be liable for the tax and for interest if it's paid late, you would not be liable for a penalty. But if your error was as a result of carelessness, then legislation says that a penalty could apply in those circumstances. So those are the two occasions when HMRC would consider whether non-compliance was careless, when we need to understand what back years we can assess and when we need to understand whether there is a penalty due.
Okay, so carelessness could mean in your case that just to come back to what you were saying, that was an innocent mistake. So a not innocent mistake, is that when carelessness would be?
I use the term innocent. I don't think that's the statutory language. The statutory language is despite taking reasonable care. So if you get your tax wrong, despite having taken reasonable care with it, then there's no question of us charging you a penalty. You would, of course, still have to pay the tax. But if you have been careless in your tax affairs and as a result of that carelessness have made a mistake, then you could be liable to a penalty for any understatement of tax that you've made.